Hello, everybody. Sunday Adelaja here from Kyiv, Ukraine. I want to welcome all of you people that are watching from all over the world. Wherever you are, please go and share this message right now with your family members, with your friends. Those on YouTube, find a way to share it with everybody you know. And those on Facebook, please go share the message with friends and family. Today, I'm going to be talking with one of the Nigeria's presidential aspirants, someone who wants to be the president of Nigeria come 2019, next year. His name has been in the social media. He's very, very popular in the social media, especially on television. And so he's on YouTube. His name has been everywhere. So it should be a name that you people are familiar with. Ahmed Buhari, especially bearing in mind that he bears the same surname, the same last name as our current president. As a matter of fact, one of my staff, who is a European here, was asking me, who is not even an English speaker, but she knows the name of our president. So when she's my staff here and she's in the studio, and when she got to know the name of the person coming on today, she said, okay, but I thought you already have one Buhari as the president. I said, this is a new generation Buhari. So we have the new generation Buhari, we have the new younger version of Buhari, but not related, just namesake, not related. So please go and share this, especially if you are not even a Nigerian or you are not an African, but you know anybody from Nigeria. Please go share this message and this video with them, because Nigeria is important to the destiny of the world, not just Africa. So please go share with all your friends. Go share with all your friends and family members as I introduce you to our guest today, the aspirant to the position of the Nigerian president, Mr. Ahmed Buhari. Hello, Mr. Ahmed.
Hi. Good evening, Doctor. It's a pleasure to be having this conversation with you. For the viewers also, I want to say thank you for joining in. I hope that this will be an opportunity to speak to a larger audience so that they know exactly what we've been doing in the last 2.5 years. Many people do not know, but among the young people who are aspiring to run, I am the first to have declared for this office. It was born out of my desire to see things happen differently. On the 1st of October 2016, we made an open declaration that we're going to be deploying all odds and see how we can change the status of how things are being run in the country. And from that time onward, we've had a lot of younger people also raise up and say, you know what, we're going to join in the race and see that the conversation can be shifted from the older politicians to the younger ones. And so I'm glad the narrative is changing, and I'm happy that huge personalities like yourself are finding us worthy to be on your platform for this discourse.
Yes, I think you are absolutely right, because you are probably the first one I saw on TV being interviewed as a new generation of presidential aspirants, and I think you are right. You are probably the very first one who started. So on that note, what is it? Where did you get that courage? Where did you get that audacity from to step out? I think this was even before the passing of the amendment to the law, not too young to run. I think you had actually stepped out before that amendment.
You're very correct, Doctor. Before the amendment was even pushed, before the bill was being talked about, we were already in the space, trying to see how many young people would start believing in themselves and, ask for something different from what is being served to them. And, you asked me, where did the courage come from? I think, to be honest with you, we all have these things inside us. We just need to find them. And for me, it was because I just asked myself on one quiet evening, I say to myself, what happens in another 30 years when my kids are all grown and I'll start asking me the questions? What did you do during your time? What did you do to change what we're going through now? Because as it is right now, I do not see us, heading toward that direction that is going to give us economic prosperity, security, and a country that we can all be proud of. a country where people like Dr. Sunday wouldn't have had any reason to leave even for a minute. So for me, I think it's a matter of survival, and that is why we have decided to defy all odds, not minding whatever everyone has said with regards to the danger that surrounds our polity. And we've been in it for a bit now, and to be honest with you, we've made our people understand that politics doesn't have to be dirty, it doesn't have to be dangerous. We just need to start talking about the issues. And if we talk about the issues, you realize that the people who have got nothing to offer will take the back seats.
Your name is Ahmed Buhari. From your name, it is easy to presume or assume that you are coming from the northern part of Nigeria, which could be true. But when somebody listens to you, you are so polished. Did you study abroad, or have you grown up in Nigeria all the while, or where are you coming from? If you are from northern Nigeria, why is it you don't have the normal northern Nigerian accent? If you are from Nigeria, have you always lived in Nigeria or you studied abroad? Who is Ahmed Buhari?
So let me start by saying that I use Kiwi polish. That's why I shine. Well, on a serious note, I would like to consider myself as a lucky person, because I was just 14 years old when I lost my father.
14.
And my mom was I was just 14, and I had 5 siblings, and my mom was just 32. So if you do the calculation, you find out that she was also a teenager at the time she got married.
Wow.
I've been lucky. We were lucky to have some very nice, good Samaritans, cater for us to see that the good effort of my father while he was alive did not just go in vain, and they tried to see how we could get through school and other things that could help your life become better. But that's not enough, It doesn't stop at the school you go to. It doesn't stop at the friends you make or the exposure that you get. You all have to build yourselves. You have to work on trying to become better. I'm from Kontagora in Niger State, and I'm very proud of it. And I will tell you the truth, I went to school in Kontagora. I went to school in northern Nigeria until I finished university. Then I got a scholarship and I went to England and I studied international trade and marketing in Cavendish College, London. And then I went to Manchester University, where I studied geographic information systems and spatial analysis. But that's not enough to get you to becoming the kind of person that you would want to be. You really need to build yourself. You really need to break all the barriers, mix with the right kinds of people. And the right kind of people means everybody, because in every good there is bad, and every bad there is good. That is what I've done with myself in the last 40 years, and that is how I've become the kind of person that I've become. It wasn't a bed of roses, but today the story is different. And my story is just to let every young person out there who complains about everything not working to understand that everything can work. You just have to believe in yourself and go for it.
So you are actually not from the north, the cold north. You are from middle belt, middle Nigeria.
Kontagora, Niger State is very, very core north. I'm Hausa by tribe.
Are you serious?
Oh yes.
We've not really had a core Hausa person as the president of Nigeria. Mainly people from other places and Fulanis. But Kontagora, is it not in Niger State?
Exactly. It's just a border town with Kebbi State.
Okay. So it's closer to Kebbi than it is to Plateau and things like that.
It's far from Plateau State. It's closer to Kebbi, Sokoto. It used to be part of the old northern western region. So that was, we were under Sokoto State at the time before it was being broken down.
Now I got it. But for example, your story you just told now, when you listen to somebody like Obama, or when you listen to most of these successful Americans, they will always tell you that it is only in America whereby a story like this could happen, that someone who grew up without a father, with the mother having 5 kids, lost her husband at the age of 32.
6.
At the age of 36 kids. Is it 6 kids?
Exactly.
Wow. And then how come, you know, can that possible in Nigeria? Can anybody make it like that in Nigeria and you are still able to travel to study abroad?
That's me here. So like I said to you, you just have to keep your head up. You have to focus. You have to believe in yourself. You have to prove to everybody that, look, you may be the son of nobody, but you are somebody. And so that mentality we have in Africa, where everybody regards you based on the family you come from or the name that you bear, we're trying to say it doesn't have to be so. You know, my mom was not just 32, but she was a full-time housewife. So how we managed through the years is something that's still like a miracle to most of us. I can't even remember how those years went so fast. But more importantly, the most important thing is that we have come to this point, and we are saying that we're not going to let the experiences that we've been through deter us, but rather we're going to latch on those experiences and see how we can, you know, stand out regardless of all the regardless of all those obstacles that life throws at us, and say, you know what, we're going to make something happen differently, at least in our own lifetime.
But another surprising thing about you is that you are living in Nigeria right now. That is, you went to England, finished your school, and then left England consciously and came back to live and work in Nigeria. Because I know a lot of other guys who are just moving to Nigeria now just to contest for the seat of the presidency. But what I understand is that you live in Nigeria, you left England after your education and came back home. People like us and many of people like millions of Nigerians, we stayed back in Europe. How come you are able to, what gave you the confidence, the courage to come back to Nigeria after your education? That is also another surprising thing right there.
Well, you see, Doctor, this I would like to deviate a little bit because, you know, I keep saying some things sometimes to Nigerians. When we sit down and look at
Hello? Oh, wow. That's network, eh? I don't, no, I need to hear this guy. I really need to hear him. I think we need to call him back or something. This is too important for me. I need to hear this, you know, what makes him tick? Where is he coming from? I mean, people are running away from the country. You know what I'm talking about. People who rather want to disappear, and you, especially when you know you don't have anywhere to come back to. You don't have a father, you don't have family else, you have 5 children, 5 brothers and sisters to cater for 6. I mean, yeah, he's the 6th one. So he has 5 brothers and sisters behind him, and mother is a widow. You want to stay back and make a living to cater for them. I think I really must hear this guy's story. I mean, it's not from the Emir's palace or Emir's family or from some rich family or something like that, but underprivileged. So what made him to come back to Nigeria? We must hear his story, guys. Let's go and share this message. Let's please share. As many people as are watching the program, please go share the message. We'll try to get Ahmed back. We'll try to get him back. And he's just 40 years old. And he's been very courageous in his decisions. So let's try and get Ahmed. I think we have something with this, with network, they call it Nigeria, network. I think the network is a problem. This guy's story is one story we must all hear. I don't know what's wrong with the internet over there, but his story is a story we all must hear. We all must hear his story. So who is there? How can we get him? Maybe you go and call him in one of the... Wow. I'm very intrigued to know about Ahmed Buhari. Okay, I think we probably got him. Let's see. Hello?
Yeah, I'm back now. I'm back here.
Okay, I think that is network or something.
Yeah, the network issues came up.
I was asked, I hope you had my last question about what gave you the courage to, I mean, to leave Europe and come back to Nigeria.
Yeah, and I was trying to explain to you that for most of us, we believe that home is where the heart is. So no matter how far away we go, we always want to find a reason to come back home. And when we come back home, regardless of what we meet.
Yes? Hello? Hello? Is it frozen? Did we lose him again? Or he just frozen? We lost him. That's not good. That's not a good thing. Okay, let me talk about my latest book before I get him to be back. Where is that book on miracles? Yeah, we have our latest book. It's in the no. Okay, show it. Just show it there. You know, I have a book I'm releasing this week, and we put it down there in the internet on the Amazon for $1, $1 something, $1 plus, so that people from Africa will be able to get it, and we'll be able to send it to our people because it's a topic that we need to deliver our people from. Our dependence on miracle is just catastrophic. This book will deliver our people from looking for miracles. And the book is called What Miracles Will Not Do. What miracles will not do for you. What miracles will not do for you. A lot of times, you know, Satan has actually taken advantage of the desire of our people to look for miracles. And that desire to look for miracle has, you know, rendered us redundant, has rendered us to become biomasses. And now our economy is suffering as a result. Our people are suffering as a result. We have become slaves to so-called men of God and GOs, and religious organizations have taken advantage of it. And they have turned our people to their slaves and concentration camp because people are looking for miracles, because people are not depending on themselves, and they are not doing their best to be able to, you know, work with their hands and produce. Instead of that, we're always looking for miracles. So this book is going to really bring common sense to people. It's going to bring soundness to people. And it's going to let our people know that, hey, take it easy. In Europe here, people are not praying for miracles. And some of these countries that don't pray for miracles, they are the most developed countries. Okay, I think we got Ahmed back. Hello, Ahmed.
Hi, Doctor.
Yes, please. You are saying something in terms. You are saying something about the reason why you left England. I mean, why you had the courage to come, because you know most of us, and you are talking to a lot of Nigerian diaspora here today. A lot of them, they would not like to come back to Nigeria for one reason, because they just like you, they will say, well, I need to take care of my siblings, my brothers and sisters. I don't have a rich family to come back to. I need to help my brothers and sisters go to school. My mother needs help. In fact, right now, I heard that a lot of relatives from Africa are telling their children and their relatives, don't come back, oh, just stay there, find a way to stay there. So that's why you are so unique in a lot of things, and I want to get into your way of thinking and what made you to be so different, progressively different from a lot of contemporary Nigerians. So, you know, I want to get into your thinking. What makes you tick?
Doctor, you're correct. A lot of people go and they go with the intention not to return. That's the truth, you know. But I'm of the belief that the only place that I can have my full confidence, my explore and give my full potential is in Nigeria. So when I came back to Nigeria, it wasn't easy. I spent a whole year looking for a job. Even though I was so sure that after coming back with 2 master's degrees, I was going to seamlessly get into the system and, you know, start earning, was it a 7-figure salary they said I was going to be getting at that time, but it wasn't happening. So even the first job I got, I wasn't even paid up to 100,000. But you know, you have to be here to make that change. You have to be here to be part of the system. And for most of us, we think that Nigeria can be perfect. Oh yes, it can be perfect, but you have to be part of the process that gets it to perfection. Most of us believe that Nigeria is a lost case, and so we rather stay away from it and hopefully stay away from it and hope it changes one day. It's never going to change. We will have to be here. We will have to effect that change. And like for every society, there's always going to be good and bad. Our plan and our aim is to ensure that there is more good than bad in the system. So if you think you're a good person, if you think you've got something to offer, then come to the system. What we need to do is to populate the system and ensure that there are more positive people than negative people. Only then can we start having the kind of Nigeria that we want. If I had stayed in England, I never would have been thinking of running for the office of the president. Many people who live in Europe and in the United States who have declared to run for the highest office of the country, when you sit down to talk to them, you really understand that they are really, really far away from the realities. And the realities can only be understood when you're on ground. And it's not so bad sometimes, because perception is one of the biggest problems facing us in the world. What we need to do to ourselves, what we need to do for ourselves is to be on ground, to be with the people, to understand. You know, I like using this favorite story in the Bible. When Jesus Christ was talking to the people, you know, and there was this blind man who was walking towards Jesus Christ, and what he wanted, normally everybody would have thought, is bread to eat or some money to buy something to feed himself. But Jesus Christ stopped for a minute and said, let him speak, let him ask me what he wants. And so this is the beauty about being on the ground. You can understand from the people exactly what they want. Do not think you know what they want. You have no idea what they want. So by the time you think, oh, I think the people need a bridge, or the people need a fancy artwork in the city center, that might just be very far away from what they want. So when Jesus Christ stopped to the blind man and said, what do you want? He said to Jesus Christ, I want my sight back. So even though everybody thought if you'd gone blind, you can never regain your sight, he was hopeful. And when he asked, God in his mercy granted him his sight. So it's the same thing with being on the ground. You cannot know what the people in the grassroots want. You cannot know how to connect the grassroots with the elites and the space that exists between them, except you're on ground. You have to know everything from every angle. I have been through the darkest days. I have seen what it is to be at the top. I know exactly what it is to fall back again to the ground. But you cannot know these things if you're not on the ground. You have to be here in Nigeria to experience these things. So the courage came from the belief that, look, I'm going to survive. I'm a survivor. I lost my father when I didn't know anything, but I've managed to go through all that life threw at me. So what stops me from going back to Nigeria now that I have something to even use to fight the battle? And that's why I'm back here.
Well, some people are writing right now that he was probably employed by the state government. Maybe his state government, you know, he was able to come back because he knew that, you know, they need educated people in the state, and the state government probably gave him a job. Is that what happened?
You know, people just pick up what they want to pick up and listen to what they want to listen, or believe what they want to believe. I live in Lagos State. I'm not from Lagos State. I've lived in Lagos State for over 15 years. And if I was going to come back to state government work, I would have gone back to Niger State. But I went to Lagos. I knew what Lagos was going to throw at me, and I was ready to fight it back. I said to Lagos, Odeshi, and I've passed through Lagos like that.
And you are in Lagos up to now?
Oh yes, I still live in Lagos. I run my company in Lagos. I run an ICT hub that employs about 40 people. And we're really excited because most of the things that we do is to see how we can get younger people believing in themselves and understanding that there is more to life than medicine, engineering, and pharmacy. There are other things that you can do with ICT. And so our key focus has been how to design some interesting corporate social responsibilities that can touch the lives of young children, expose them to ICT, and also we recently started running courses for people living with disabilities. For us, we call them people living with special abilities, and we bring them to the hub. These are people who are blind, deaf, cripples, albinos. We bring them to the hub so that we introduce them to what ICT has to offer, because we understand that the people in this demography fall within a demography of people who have troubles traveling from point A to point B. Imagine what it is for able-bodied men in Nigeria to travel from point A to point B. Now think about people with living with disabilities. So we want them to understand that there are other things that you can learn and do for yourself without requiring travel from point A to point B, and can make some bread for yourself. So these are the things that we do. The company is about 7 years old. So for anybody who's thinking that I came back to work with state government, sorry to disappoint you. I've never worked with the government. I did come back and started working as a well site geologist with an indigenous oil and gas company because of my geology background. After that, I got a job with the telecoms, and I worked as a business development manager for the telecoms company for a bit, after which I started my own company like that I just described to you. So in the course of all of these things, we saw that there was a space that needed to be filled in our country, and that has to do with the politics. The reason why we don't have the right politicians is because the right people don't want to take part in this whole political space, and we think that it's for certain people. But if these certain people are not able to deliver us the kind of democracy that we want, then I think it's about time we get involved, and that's exactly what we're doing right now. And so some people have said you don't have the kind of experience that is required to give good leadership, or you don't have the kind of experience that is required. And we say the experience required for good leadership does not have to be earned through a political process. You don't have to be a politician before you can give good leadership. What we need right now are people with a different mindset, people with competence, people with ability to see that something happens differently, at least in our lifetime. And so, you know, I keep using this analogy. When you drive your car as a father, you put your child in the back seat. After a few years, you move your child to the front seat. After a few years, you make the child hold the steering. And as you sit beside the child, you keep telling your son, careful, don't go too fast. Hold the trafficator. Stop. Why are you running so fast? Put on the hazard lights. You keep, you know, caution and caution and caution. And then at some point, your son drives the car and you slip off. And that is exactly what life is about. We should and must be ready to say we have been able to transfer responsibility from one generation to the next at the right time. The moment we allow this vacuum to increase, everything will fill up this vacuum, and that's exactly what is happening in Nigeria right now. So when you see people like us trying to say we want to take part in this, we're not fighting for power. We're asking to be given responsibility to serve.
Yeah, but where are you getting that courage from? Okay, how did that occur to you that at 40 years old, even before the bill, even before the campaign and the movement, that not too young to run, before all the clamoring, you started out to say, I can do it. And you just said it, that everybody is saying you don't have the experience, you cannot do it. So where is that coming from? You know, is it that, like, for example, some people could say, God spoke to me. Or some people could say, I had a dream. Or some people could say, maybe your colleagues. Okay, for example, I spoke to one other person, one other candidate. He said, my colleagues told me to do it. My colleagues told me you have the leadership. Somebody in the diaspora said, okay, but you are such a brilliant Nigerian. Why is your country in such a mess? Go and try. You know, so what is your own story about being, you know, audacious enough to just step out so young when you live in Nigeria, you know the cabals, you know about PDP, you know about APC, you know the politics on the ground. So where is that audacity coming from?
Doctor, I spoke to no one for any sort of endorsement before I started this thing. I'm also of the belief that we do not need anyone to tell us to do something that we think we are capable of doing. Also, if we think, when I hear politicians say, oh, my spiritual mentor said I should come out, or I had a dream, God spoke to me, I laugh, you know. And we've seen many of those kind of people come out and not win the election, and I keep wondering, how did God feel like this now? But you see,
yes, I'm hearing you.
Between myself and yourself, I'll be very honest. I made a declaration to run for this office because I wanted to see something happen differently. No one in the face of this earth would have endorsed or agreed with me starting up this whole campaign for a generational shift in the kind of leadership that we produce in our country. No one, absolutely no one. And I'm very proud to say that that singular act has made a lot of young people build in confidence to say, we also can do this. So whether their colleagues ask them to come or other people in the diaspora ask them to come, the reality of the matter is they are on ground. And so it's in you. Like I said from the beginning, we all have it in us. We just need to agree to allow it to surface. And our agreement to allow it to surface comes with a lot of challenges. And when those challenges face you, you should be ready to be steadfast and ensure that you fight it back. And like I've said to you, my whole life has been a struggle. There's been a challenge. It's been a contest. And at every step of the way, we have managed to conquer. And I say we because I think it's bigger than me. Yeah, and I've not been able to do this on my own because at every turn I make, I find people who are willing to join, believing in the cause and say, we're going to support you. And these are people who are selflessly supporting the cause, believing that it's a worthy cause. And so, hey, if you ask me again anything about courage, I don't know what to say to you.
Okay, but then you must have some aspiration in terms of, you say you want to build a better Nigeria, but what is your dream for Nigeria? What are your aspirations for Nigeria? Can you tell us the picture of Nigeria that is in your mind? We want to see it. We want to have a glimpse into the Nigeria that you have, conceptualized, that you want to go and build by stepping out.
Yes, this is why we're doing this. So many people will tell you, oh, I'm going to, focus on infrastructure. No, it's education. Oh, it's the security. But, I think the reason why Nigeria is where it is today is because we haven't reconciled most of the irregularities that happened from when we decided to become a federation. You cannot have a people working with you towards success if they have not agreed to become united. Even in your family house, if there is disunity, that family would hardly progress. That's exactly what is facing the Nigerian situation. There's a lot to be reconciled. I'll give you an example. The first misdirection we had as a country was the 1966 coup. The 1966 coup did not just bring up about bad blood, but the events that followed till today have not been resolved. Whether the 1966 coup that led to the killings or a lot of activities after the 1966 coup that led to the killings of a lot of Nigerian officers and politicians, or are you talking about the eruption of the civil war that began in 1967? Or are you talking about the series of coups that kept happening afterwards? Or are you talking about the annulment of June 12th? Or are you talking about the current case of Boko Haram here, agitations from the southeast, agitations from the southwest, we want to decentralize, we want to restructure? These are all cries of people who believe that they're not exactly part of the current situation or the setting. And so what it means is, before you can easily sit down and say, oh, there was a 1966 coup that happened, or there was a civil war that happened, millions of people died, no more war, everybody go home. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't happen like that. What we're expected to do is to ensure that we document exactly what happened, why it happened, who were those that were hurt. Are we compensating some people? Are we going to punish some people? Are we going to ask some people to beg for forgiveness? And when they beg for forgiveness, those that they're asking for forgiveness from, are they willing to forgive? Are they willing? If they're not willing, are we going to counsel them to prepare their minds to understand that this has happened, but we need to move forward? Except we get our country to that position, we cannot receive prosperity, we cannot receive advancement. And that is why we have remained where we are. And so when you started talking with me and you said, you do not see that northern Ahmed, somebody else person will say, I don't see the southern Ahmed. And this is exactly what I have built myself to become. I have built myself to become a tribeless Nigerian who is prepared to receive every single person regardless of where they're coming from. So the first thing on our agenda is a united country. A country where all of us will hold ourselves together regardless of all of those things that have always divided us. Whether ethnicity, whether religion, whether political party ideological affiliations, whether gender or the age brackets. We need to look past all of that and start working together as a unit, as one unit moving forward. That is the only time we'll be able to have everything that we've always imagined happen to us. The second thing that we want is a secured country. We believe that except the country is secure, nothing can work. And so when we talk about security, we tie it up to the fact that we believe that before Nigeria can succeed, we would have to adopt proper data management systems that will help us go for accountability, transparency, and efficiency in all the activities that we do. So that when people come into our country, we know why they're coming, how long they're staying, what they're going to be doing, when do they intend to leave. Now, a country cannot function or succeed if these things are not there. The third thing on our agenda is to have a decentralized system of governance. And so we'll talk about decentralization of the government. I want people to stop thinking we're going to break the country apart. No, we're talking about decentralizing the civil service. We're talking about decentralizing the security agencies. We're talking about decentralizing how businesses are being done. We believe that the center is holding too much, and that is why we're not succeeding. The center is holding too much, and it is breaking. Then the fourth thing on our agenda is that the government has a lot of work to do with regards to working with the minds of the people to make them understand that we can leverage on our comparative economic advantages to succeed as a people. So when you go to the southeast and you go to Ari market in Aba and you see thousands and thousands of men and women manufacturing leather shoes, bags and belts, and you ask them, where did they get their local resource from? And they tell you we import from Turkey, we import from some other African countries, the leather that we use. And then you go to Kano in Sharada, and you sit down with the locals there, and they tell you that they export every single leather that they make from Sharada to companies like Louis Vuitton. Recently, Louis Vuitton released a report saying that Kano State is the second largest supplier of leather. You can Google it, it's there. But do you know that the men in Sharada sell a 3 meter by 3 meter piece of leather for just $3 to Louis Vuitton? Do you know why? Because first, it's semi-processed. Second, because the system doesn't allow them to properly infuse themselves into proper marketing or proper business. What we are saying is, if the people that have leather in Sharada would meet the people that manufacture this leather in Abia State and come together in synergy, whatever they make, they share. There's no Hausa person that would want to fight an Igbo person because you know where the war is coming from. Now, these things don't happen. These things don't exist. This is just one example from the many examples that exist. The reason why we're in this geographic region is for the purpose of economy. I am not going to be friends with Dr. Adelaja except Dr. Adelaja and I have got a business relationship. If you and I have a business relationship that gives us millions every morning, I will call you every morning. I will call you before I call you. I will call you and say, Sunday, my brother, how are you, sir? I've not seen anything. Oh, my brother, my darling brother, I love you. We end our conversation with, I love you. Because there is something that we're benefiting from. But you have left the people without direction. In fact, you use the diversity that exists within these people to further divide them for your selfish gains. We have to stop that. And the only way we can stop that is if we can identify what economic benefits these people have married together, economic prosperity that will give us peace, unity, and progress. These are the things we stand for. And we believe that if we're able to work on the mindset, because I've been to every part of this country in the last 3 years, and one thing I know for sure is that the people are not connected with each other. We are not communicating. There's so much fear, there's so much hate, there's so much disagreement, disbelief, there's so much uncertainty. And that is why I like using my favorite quotes. Hate is not the first enemy of love. It is fear, because fear destroys our ability to trust. And now, so we need to work to see how we can bring our minds together to understand that I don't have any reason to fight a Yoruba man. A Yoruba man does not have any reason to fight an Igbo man. The reason why we're fighting each other is because we are hungry. And because we are poor people, we always forget that the direction of the people that are suppressing us is not with ourselves, but with some other people that we cannot have access to. And so the only way we can fight these people is believing that you cannot have a perfect situation. You cannot have a perfect country. You cannot have a country that is devoid of bad people. But you sure can have a country that has more good people than bad people. And that's the mission.
So with what I'm hearing from you, you want to make Nigeria work. You want to make it a country. You want us to become a people, one people. Now, you say you've been going across Nigeria. That seems to be very difficult now, much more difficult now than when I was in Nigeria. When I was in Nigeria, nobody was talking about restructuring, nobody was talking about Biafra, nobody was talking about Odua, Arewa, nothing like that. Even though, you know, we still had maybe the differences, but it was not as divided like this. So how are you received in all this part of the country? And do you have representatives in other states apart from Lagos?
You know, let me start with the structure that we have built. When we started this whole journey, we started it before I made a declaration, and we started with building a structure. We called it the Reformation, and we started building the Reformation by having state directors, local government representatives, and ward representatives. And this has made it very easy for us to move. Because I won't lie to you, doctor, we're not a wealthy campaign group. We don't have the money. It's being funded by our people. It's being funded by people who believe in this vision. So when we say we are going to, say, Akwa Ibom tomorrow, we call the state director in Akwa Ibom, and he prepares his local government representatives and ward level representatives and talk to maybe the market women that we're going to meet up with. But because the people have understood what we're trying to sell, they are able to communicate with the people. And in all of the town hall meetings that we've had, in all of the engagements we've had with whether traditional rulers, whether people on the ground, the truth of the matter is, when they hear the things we say, they're not dumb. They stop for a minute and say, how come nobody has ever said these things? How come we've always believed that a northerner thinks about himself before us? How come we've always believed that the northerner thinks about just our oil? And I say to them, the average man on the streets of Kano does not even know if this country produces oil. And frankly speaking, he doesn't even care. He doesn't. So what we're trying to make our people understand is, for us to get to that promised land, for us to get that country that we want, we must first understand that the problems facing northern Nigeria are the same problems facing southern Nigeria, eastern Nigeria, and even western Nigeria. They are the same problems, maybe at different levels or magnitude, but we all have the same problems, whether it's education, whether it's insecurity, whether it's infrastructural decay, whether it's government, marginalizing the people and suppressing them for their own personal gains. It's the same thing. But the only time these things will change is if the people would agree to unite themselves, to fight or request what they believe can help them. But when I talk about politics, people say, oh, you're new into it. And I say, look, I won't lie to you, the politicians are not the only problems we're facing in the country. The electorate are also part of the problem, because the electorate have allowed themselves to be controlled solely by the financial gains they make during campaign processes. So I keep telling them, anytime the politician puts his hands in his pockets to pay you money during campaign processes, be rest assured that when he gets into office, he's going to recover all of that money at an interest rate that only he can determine. And at a return of investment that only he can determine. But the people do these things. But because they are so disenfranchised, because they're so hungry, they are not able to resist what they know will further bury them. So the sensitization exercise that we've been moving on with is to talk to young people like ourselves, who to an extent can stand for themselves and say, you know what, can we come out of our shell and challenge all the things that are happening to us? At least have that kind of country that we've always envisaged. And that's why we're doing it.
So how much of the country have you covered?
Like I said to you, there is no part of the country that we have not been to. At least its state capital. For some other states, we've been able to touch more than 5, 6 local governments. For some states, we've just been to the state capital. I'm not going to lie to you. And this has been very strenuous. This has been challenging, demanding, most especially because nothing comes for free. And when you have a movement that is being funded solely by young people like yourself, who are also disenfranchised from the system, who also have their daily bills to sort out, you realize that we're actually running this campaign on a very, very empty tank. How the vehicle has been able to move still remains a mystery to most of us. But the most important thing is that the message is out. Those who want to receive it are receiving it. for some other young people like us, they believe that we can have a young person as a president now. He doesn't have the experience. He wouldn't know what to do. And this is the black man's mentality. When you see a other black man trying to do something, you always find every reason to shut it down. You know, I was in Kigali a few months ago and I was giving a talk, and I said to them, if Facebook was owned by an African, our parents would have told us to leave Facebook because they are going to steal our destiny, you know, when we get into Facebook.
Yes.
But now that it's being run by a white man, every black man supports it. So we need to find a way to shove aside all of those things and see how we can support ourselves. I'm saying this right now because I still haven't seen young people come out in full support, believing that at least in their own lifetime, they can make history. And making history is not making Ahmed president. No. It's about being able to say, we have a vision, we have an ideology, and it's going to start existing in our own lifetime. If this cannot happen, then I'm sorry, we're just wasting our time.
What is that ideology? One Nigeria ideology, or, you know, building a great Nigeria? What is your ideology? How will you call your ideology?
I think we want a united country, like I said earlier. We want a united country that is truly decentralized and that is economically viable. These are the things that we stand for. If people will never succeed if they're not united. If people will never succeed if they are hungry. And for those things to happen, we have to adopt a process of governance. And that process of governance happens to be a decentralized system that is going to allow everybody to have a fair share of participation in the system. So it's going to be a level playing field regardless of where you're from. You're going to be respected, you're going to be received, you're going to be considered. And one of the other things that has actually pushed us back is the whole fact that in 2018, we're still sticking to state of origin for employment purposes. We're still sticking to quota system to decide who gets into whatever office and whatever capacity. I think we should focus on just one thing: competence. When we find the right people, the competent people, that should be the focus moving forward.
Now, you have been able to, you know, succeed in a very big competitive city, you know, Lagos, coming as a young man, just out of university. You are, that is you are in a jungle right there to survive, to be able to build a company from the scratch, pay all the bills, you know, and be able to be an employer of labor. So you know how to manage the economy to some extent, how to manage finances. How do you plan to make Nigeria economy work?
Okay, you see, one of the other problems that we have is when we engage with people who want to run for an office of this magnitude, we believe that they have all the answers. I have been able to manage my company, and I won't lie to you, it's a little fraction from the true reality of the Nigerian problems. Yes. So the only thing that's going to make any of our leaders succeed is to have the right team. And having the right team simply means that you have to look at the people that have got the competence to function, not based on where you're from, not based on your religion, not based on your age bracket, but agreeing that you have to put together a team that comes from all parts of the country to help you succeed. So if you find a president who tells you, I know how to manage education, I know how to manage the economy, I still know how to do the infrastructure, I know how many bags of cement you need for this, look, be very wary. Because in the real sense of it, it's only that right team that you put in place that can help you succeed. Your responsibility is to ensure that you put the right team and put them in check. And that is what I've done in my own company. Like I said to you, my background is geology. I did international trade and marketing, and I did geographic information systems and spatial analysis. I have successfully run an IT company, and now this is a different field. But because I was able to agree to put the right people in place, they didn't have to come from my family. This is my business, it has to succeed. They didn't have to come from my hometown. They just needed to know what they were doing. And those people have been able to manage the success of this place. Before we started this interview, I interacted with a few of your team members, and none of them is Yoruba.
You're right.
But, you know, yeah, no, I haven't, maybe there's some, but I haven't met them yet. But
none.
people I talk to, Yeah, but the people I've talked to are people that you believe can help you succeed. And that is exactly the mentality that we will have to think and adopt when we're thinking about the Nigeria on a bigger scale. Otherwise, we are doomed for failure.
Wow. All right. So what will you think about Nigerian GDP? Right now, we are rated as the best economy or the biggest economy in Africa, but that is still nothing because when it compare it to the GDP per capita, Nigeria is lagging much behind. So how do you, who are the specialists you want to try to attract to be able to solve this problem of poverty? Because you said our main problem is not even with where people come from, but it's with the poverty that the country is experiencing. So how do you want to put food on the table of ordinary Nigerians?
So I am very happy that when you went from GDP, per capita income, and all of those gibberish that the economists will give to you to say that we are the largest economy in Africa, we're the fastest growing economy in sub-Saharan Africa. The truth of the matter is that, doctor, all you need to do is go to the market. The price of everything is still up. The market women are still complaining. There is still hunger in the land. The number of people that will call you every day to ask you for handouts is more than what it was last year. And I fear it's going to be more next year. So forget about any GDP. I wonder who put these figures together for us. I keep asking these people, do you know how many Nigerians exist? How do you know how many Nigerians exist when I haven't even been counted? How do we plan these things? How do we forecast? Who gives us these figures? United Nations? How come our figures are all being generated by some international body? The truth of the matter is that we are not ready yet. And until we are ready, we'll have to do the right, before we can be ready, we'll have to do the right things. So if I still see hunger in the land, whether you tell me the GDP is better than what it was 6 months ago, or we're out of recession, I will still tell you, the prices of everything in the market is still high. I still follow my wife to the market to shop. I still go to the market with my kids to do a few things. And I will tell you truly, doctor, it is still not better. How it becomes the fastest growing economy or largest economy with GDP at whatever percentage, I still don't understand that. The truth of the matter is, if power is not put in place, none of these things can work well for us. And so if you still go buy tomato today and tell the woman to help you grind it, she has to put on her engine with petrol that she bought. So we're still talking about the same things. She's supposed to seamlessly grind whatever you're supposed to grind easily for you, but she has to go and buy petrol to run that. So if it's telling on her, it's telling on me. So I don't know who is out of the GDP or who is in the GDP and at what percentage it is. I think before we can actually say we have a country that is succeeding, we'll have to understand how many people we're dealing with in this country. You talk to the Minister of Interior today and say how many Nigerians exist, it tells you 170 million. You sit down with the next minister, he tells you we are 210 million. And then you sit down with an international body and he says in another 30 years, you people will be 250 million. How? Who knows these things? I haven't been counted. And as we sit down here to talk, there are millions of people coming in through Niger, through Cotonou, through the Chad Basin, coming into our country with the intention never to return. So even when you try to put infrastructure in place for our people, because you don't know how many people truly exist, this infrastructure can't hold. So you bring your prototype from Ukraine and you're expecting that prototype to work because it's a bridge that is fancy in Ukraine, and you put it in Lagos, forgetting that it's just about 20,000 people that use it in a month in Ukraine. In Lagos, it probably be 20 million people. So in less than 6 months, it's already shaking. These things have got to be resolved. We need to know what we're dealing with. As far as I'm concerned, I'll go by what you said earlier. It's a jungle. And your survival is not guaranteed.
There is a young man from the US, he's a Nigerian guy based in the US, he's called Davidson. He is very adamant that there is nothing that will ever work in Nigeria without resolving the database issue, especially biometrics data. And he said that is the very first thing that any leader we have to do in Nigeria if they are serious. And his argument is very close to your argument. He said, if I am the head of my family and I have 10 members in that family, my wife and 9 children, but I don't even know I have 10 children. How will I even know how much money I need every month? How will I know what clothes to buy for? How would I know how many? I don't even know how many of those children, they are 9, how many of them are girls, how many of them are boys. How will I know what even to buy for them? How will I know how much bag of rice do I need in a month? How do I know? He said the same thing with a country. So what will you say about database? And if you happen to be the president of Nigeria, what do you plan to do about the database issue?
Doctor, I will take it one more time. 5 things we want to do in Nigeria. We want to produce that united country by ensuring that we talk more with each other, understand that we're facing some problems. Secondly, we want a secure country. Thirdly, we want a decentralized country. Fourthly, we want a country where we can leverage on our comparative economic advantages. Fifthly, we want a country where we can adopt proper data management systems that can help us forecast and plan. The example you just gave is an analogy that I've used many times, and I keep saying it. I know exactly how many bags of rice we consume in a year in my house. I know exactly how frequent I need to buy whatever I buy to run my household. And that is the same arithmetic that you will have to use on the larger scale. But if you do not know the number of people, then you're not keen. You can't even do anything. So when I hear the country say we're going to have free education for children, and I said, do you know how many kids were given birth to in the first quarter of 2018? So how do you want to plan for them in the next 2 years? Because then they'll be ready to get into school. Do you know how many people died last year in Nigeria? Do you have the figure? So how do you want to plan? Have you ever heard Nigerians say 14 people died? They keep saying a good number of people died. We don't have any idea. And that is why we've been infiltrated by the terrorists that we have right now in the country. It's simple. If everybody's accounted for, it's hard for us to do anything that is irregular. Even when you do something that is wrong, you don't go too far before you are being brought down. These things are very clear. And it's the same thing with the herdsmen situation that was ravaging parts of the country earlier. People say, why are these things happening? Why are these things happening? And I said, you know one thing? We did sign a West African treaty that allows the free movement of herders for the purpose of grazing and economic sales. So these people come from all over West Africa. They don't have to be Nigerians. They come down to the southern part of the country to sell their cattle. And this cattle that they sell at the southern part of this country is because that is where they make the best money. There is more cattle consumed in the southern part of this country than in the northern parts. And because the grazing fields are more juicy, they move that way for grass, for feeds, and for water. Now, we are now getting to a point where we'll be having clashes of farmers and herders. It's become normal. As I speak with you right now, if you tell me there's a case going on right now in Benue or Nasarawa, I'm not going to argue with you. Because normally, the routes that these herders would have to follow through to get to the southern part of this country have now become farmlands. Why have they become farmlands? Because in the last 10 years, we have been preaching, go back to agriculture, go back to agriculture. We have to go back to farming. We have to go back to farming. Now we've gone back to farming. Everywhere that this cattle would not naturally pass are now farmlands. So when they come, even if you are not controlling the cattle, they know exactly where they followed yesterday. So they come now and they destroy the investment of these people. Because whether you like it or not, when you put agricultural activities on ground, you have actually invested some money. So these farmers get, angry and they want to fight back. In the process, there's a clash. What is the government doing about this result? And I want people to understand, especially people from the southern part of the country, this is a massive opportunity to become wealthy. If these people say they want to graze on your land, if these people are saying that the biggest market they have is on your land, you tell them that the only way you can do this business around here is by having them in ranches. And so that when they put them in ranches, you can even tax these cattle herders. Nobody taxes them. You can tax them. You know exactly how to put a dairy farm next to it so that you can have all the collection of the milk that you need for your dairy farm. Do you know this is a country with over 1 million cattle? But we still cannot boast of having XYZ liters of milk every day because there's no proper accountability. These men will have to squeeze the milk on the road, take some into the Fura de Nono calabash so they can travel with them for grazing. Put them in a ranch so that Dr. Adelaja, the next time I speak with you, you will tell me, oh, guess what? I have a new business, so it's in Nigeria. What do? You say, I prepare feeds for cattle in ranches. You say, no, I started a dairy farm next to a ranch. You say, no, there's a nice abattoir we set on the side so that this meat has been properly diced, packaged, and sold to get the maximum benefits. They say, no, the dung that they pass in the ranch, we gather it together and we process it into ammonia gas. Why is nobody thinking these things? Why do we have to look for a reason to fight each other? What do we gain when we fight each other? So the government is missing the point. It needs to let people understand that this is a comparative economic advantage. They heard us.
But even the government have not been able
distinguished guests, ladies and
explain
gentlemen,
it with such clarity.
In our midst, we also
the reason
have
for the clash, the way you have explained it now, that going back to the farm and then the routes, it makes a lot of sense.
We don't have experience, doctor. We're young, we're naive, and we speak too much English, so we don't know anything. That's what they say. But what we're saying to them is, look, there is no reason for anybody to fight anybody. And if Mayati Allah or the Igbo communities or the Western communities, I've had governors who say, never, we will not let this happen. I've had religious leaders who say, we will not let it happen on our land. And you still have young people that have no jobs. Do you think I will be ashamed if I tell you that what I do for a living is to prepare feeds for cattle? I will never be ashamed of it. Are you just talking about the herders-farmer clash? What about the fact that you're driving on a highway and the next thing cattle jumps onto the road? Many people have lost their lives like that. There's no accountability. Nothing. Nobody knows anything. Nobody cares. But what we're saying is for us to have this prosperity, for us to have this successful system, we would have to agree that for everything that happens, there's a reason. And we have to go to the root of it to address it. And what better way to resolve all of this by letting people identify where their benefits lie when it comes to monetary value? The Fulanis and the Igbos can be best of friends if the Fulanis realize that they don't have to be walking across the whole Sahel savannah just because they want to sell cattle. People have said, oh, the Fulani man likes his cattle more than he likes human beings. Hey, it's his investment. Everybody likes money. That's where he gets his money from. So we need to remember this. And we also don't need to forget that most of the cattle that they travel with do not all belong to them. There are wealthy men in Nigeria who have invested in this business, but they have refused to think about what other ways to evolve it to so that we can have peace.
Beautiful. Now, you have been traveling across Nigeria and you probably have a team. Can you tell me about your team? Where will you get the team from to build a new Nigeria?
So, one of the greatest people I have met are Nigerians. When I lived abroad, my biggest competition was with Nigerians. When I'm in class, I'm always happy when I'm the only Nigerian. The moment a new student comes in and is from Nigeria, I know that I have a competition because he's going to do better than me in the next test. That is how good we are. We have great people all over. We have just failed to choose them based on competence. We have consistently focused on picking the people based on where they're from or what sort of alliances we have with them, even if it's just our friend that is recommending them. Now, in trying to put the team I put together, they have nothing, absolutely nothing to do with where I'm from. And that's not to say I don't have people from where I'm from on my teams. But the focus has always been, what have you got to offer? What specialty are you coming to the table with? I've sat down with people who have submitted their CVs and I say, I don't care about your CV. I just want to have an interaction with you. I just need to know that you know what I want you to do. And the moment they're able to, convince me that they have what it takes, we give them a trial. Everybody deserves an opportunity. And in most cases, the best in the class doesn't always give me the best when it comes to delivery on practical terms. So, hey, it's about being honest with yourselves and understanding that the Nigerian state is not supposed to be a trial and error situation. It's something that has to work. It has got to work, and the people inside it have got to make it work.
Well, another question that I would hate to ask, but I will have to ask you, is that I am living abroad, but I've been able to look inside from the distance and see the way Nigerian Christians. Right now, we have a new bunch, a new branch of Christianity in Nigeria, the mega church Christianity, and the Christianity of the powerful men, the Christianity of the men of God, that are totally different from the Christianity we used to have in the 80s, 70s, you know, the mainstream Christianity. Right now, it is one-man Christianity, a Christianity that is based on the big man. And these big men, I've heard a lot of them saying, if you see any Fulani person or any headsman come down, or any Boko Haram or any northerner trying to do something around here, kill them. You know, or maybe they had a clash, some people die. You know, some of them have been very toxic, some of these so-called men of God. And you are living in the South. And that is where these men of God, especially in Lagos, they control the whole place now, as if they, I mean, you know, is even though Nigeria is, religion is separated from politics, but it's not like that in the real sense. And a lot of these so-called powerful men of God, they are not helping matters. I personally believe our biggest problem now is religion, and it's not Islamic religion. It's the religion of these so-called new-found cabals, religious cabals. That's what I call them. And, you know, they are not helping matters. How do you plan to... Okay, for example, during the time of Jonathan, I mean, he was always going from one church to the other, all these pastors going there. You know, Buhari is, even though Buhari is a Muslim, he's not doing that. He's not polarizing the country as much as the so-called Christians are polarizing the country. How do you notice that at all? Or does that, how do you survive in the South with that, with the domination and kind of pressure that is coming from the religious people, especially the Christian religion? Because I don't see Muslims doing the same thing. I mean, I don't see Muslims buying jets, using their jet to carry millions abroad. You know, all kind of atrocities that you cannot even do in the West. Things you cannot do in any normal country, but religion has become a major headache. In fact, I have a book here. It's called How the Church is Creating, or How the Church Creates Economic Recession. Personally, I believe Nigerian churches now, they are adding to our economic chaos that we have. It's a chaotic thing. So you are a Muslim, I guess, but how do you survive? And then coming from the north, and then you want to rule Nigeria and unite Nigeria. You are talking about unity. How do you unite when, in fact, a lot of these Christians are always talking about Muslims and are using Islam and their Muslim brothers as a political weapon? I have had my fellow pastors. I'm a pastor myself, but it's just unbelievable to me what I'm hearing coming from Nigeria, from Nigerian pastors. People will say the Muslims want to Islamize Nigeria. They even said President Buhari wants to Islamize. It's absolutely rubbish. And I don't hear the Muslims saying, you know, Christians want to Christianize Nigeria, or Jonathan want to Christianize Nigeria when Jonathan was running from one church to the other. You know, I don't see Muslims being so reactionary, but I'm seeing a lot of reactionalism coming from the Christians. And people like you who can think, who can see things, how do you observe that? I'm able to keep cool. You know, I don't know if you are getting where I'm coming from.
Yes, I understand you, doctor, and it's unfortunate, but that's not to exonerate any religion. That's not to exonerate any sect. We all are guilty of what you just highlighted, unfortunately, and that is why a few years ago, about 2 years ago, there was a certain governor who wanted to introduce the religious bill. There was so much, you know, complaints and discussion around the religious bill. And so I took my time to read the bulky document, and it clearly was a document that was designed to put some sort of control on these things. What sort of control? It was a document that was designed to ensure that before you can get on the podium and say anything that is going to create disunity, that is going to promote hate, that is going to create an atmosphere of fear, that you were going to be paralyzed. But we had a lot of people who fought this bill like it was dependent on their lives. What should we want as a people more than peace? I have heard the religious leaders say these things, and I've tried to make people understand that, look, I'm a Muslim. I'm a practicing Muslim. But I do not see a Christian as a problem. As a matter of fact, I want to work with a Christian because there are some times that I will have to go and pray that he needs to stand for me. And if it's on Sunday that he needs to go and pray, I stand for him. See, people need and must leverage on the fact that we cannot all be the same. And in that diversity, we must find our strength. If God wanted all of us to be Christians, it was easy for him to do. If God wanted all of us to be Muslims, it's an easy thing for him to do. But then he brought in different kind of messages, and he expects us to live with those messages together on earth. We were not designed to come here to fight each other. So I'm disappointed in a lot of people who have the opportunity to be on the podium and say things that will truly cause chaos, promote fear, and disunity. What I think can help resolve this thing is truly an amendment on the acts, especially on religious houses. What can you say on the podium? What can't you say on the podium? What is religion truly about? If it's not going to be on those things, then we don't have a people. Thank you, sir. But in all honesty, if that bill had gone through, it was going to ensure that those imams that stay on the side road and say, lynch a Christian when you see him, or a girl that wears a short skirt is supposed to be targeted, or a man that is a Christian or that wears a suit, or anything that just will create unnecessary pandemonium would have been put in check. So that before you can run your religious house, you must have a license. And before you get a license, you understand what you're supposed to do if given the opportunity to be on the podium to address millions of people. It doesn't happen anywhere else in the world. This is the only country where, like you said again, going back to what you said earlier, it's a jungle. Because it's a jungle, anybody can do whatever they want to do and get away with it. There are people that have been arrested in parts of the world because they incited violence, not because they took part in it. But we don't get these things. There's so much beauty in the religious text that you should focus on. But because that doesn't bring selfish gains to these people, they push them aside. I just quoted a biblical occurrence to you about Jesus Christ and the blind man, and that is because I'm familiar with Christianity. The people around me will tell me, look, this is our position on the religion. But unfortunately, it has been hijacked by certain people, and we're getting the message wrong. The same thing with Islam. For some people, if it's going to benefit them, because let me tell you one thing, for every time there is a chaos, someone somewhere is benefiting. And these are the people that we'll have to put a stop to. When I got invited to Rwanda under the invitation of President Kagame, we had a chat, and I found out that just in 2018, he shut down 6,000 churches and mosques. Nobody said nothing. Everybody kept quiet because he had his reasons. And the reason was simple. Though we are religious people, but we have to do these things with some level of sanity. And so the churches that exist, a lot of people still want to start their church, but you have to go through a process. And when you go through this process, when we check your mental status and understand that you do not, because you see, doctor, I said something to somebody. You are a Muslim and you hate a Christian so much. If tomorrow he accepts Islam, would you still hate him?
Wow.
He says no. So what it means in reality is your purpose is to sell your agenda. And in selling your agenda, it is not a must that somebody must accept it. But in selling your agenda, you must do it peacefully, intelligently, and reasonably, so that when the message gets to that person, he decides whether he wants to take it or not. Because at the end of the day, what are we trying to do? Stop some people from going into hell? Come on, some people want to go into hell. Let them go. You can't save everybody.
Beautiful.
This is my position on these things, and
yeah, I heard about that bill, and I thought that that bill would have been the biggest thing. That would, it was Jim Obazi was trying to introduce that bill. That bill would have been the best thing to happen to Nigeria. Everything has to be organized. Everything has to be in order. And what President Kagame did from Rwanda, that is so revolutionary. And Rwanda is doing well because it's making people to act like civilized people. And Rwanda is a very organized country. I was in Rwanda myself, and I see the order that is in that country. And that's why we are like a jungle, because there is no order in our system. I think lack of order is our biggest problem in Nigeria.
So when you go through the constitution, it's great, it's nice. So some people say we need an act, we need a policy, we need this, we need that. But when you go through the act, everything is there. Some men and women have worked really hard to put a framework. Well, the problem is the implementation. So our responsibility is to ensure that we implement these things and ensure that the people live by them. Who said that Nigeria cannot succeed? It can succeed. We just need to allow some things not surface. And though some people would say it's a free world, if it's a free world, why do you get arrested when you kill people?
Beautiful. Now, I will have another question for you. We only have 10 minutes more to go. Do you think Nigeria can make it?
If I didn't think Nigeria can make it, I will not be doing this. I will not be doing what I'm doing right now. I'm a firm believer that Nigeria can be successful, and not just successful in the future, but in my time, in our time. But where we've missed the point is we have not understood that it's a collective struggle. So when a lot of people see young people like myself trying to change the narrative, they think you want to be relevant. They think you want to get power. They have all sorts of imaginations in their heads. But they forget that if Nigeria succeeds, we all succeed. But Nigeria cannot succeed with the effort of one man. It has to be a collective. And this collective goes beyond ethnicity, goes beyond religion, goes beyond political parties, ideological affiliations, goes beyond gender, goes beyond age brackets. Everybody has to have their hands on deck. And if I'm saying that I want to represent this new Nigeria that we're looking for, please engage me, talk to me, find out why does this guy want to do this? Can he do this? Can we work with him? Does he look like someone that will represent all of us? Some people have asked me that very funny question. Why do you want to be president? And I say to them, I'm too relevant for my generation to hear that I existed without making an impact. and these are the things that I stand with. These are the things that I'm a firm believer of. And as much as a lot of people have said this can't be done, we have proven to them that it can be done. But we are not going to shy away from saying that we need your help. We need to do it together.
What political platform are you going to use for the elections?
So when we started, as I speak with you right now, I am the first individual to declare to run under the PDP.
Under the PDP?
Relax, doctor. I did that on the 30th of June, 2018. And we were optimistic that the PDP had come out to say very clearly to Nigerians that they wanted to turn a new leaf. They wanted a new country. They wanted things to happen differently. They apologized for 16 years of misrule, mismanagement, and the bad economy. But when we got into the PDP, we realized that they were not really prepared for that change that they talked about. Now, like I said to you, I'm not going to lie to you. I've not gotten into this political space just to pass a statement. No, I'm in this space because I believe we can win. So I wanted a political party that had the structure. I wanted a political party that could talk to the grassroots in seconds. I wanted a political party that exists. And if anybody says anything about PDP, I always try to remind them that, look, this party has been built with 20 years of our collective resources, with investment from men and women like myself and yourself who believed in the old PDP until it became what it has become. So if it is true, I don't think there's any political party that is made of all saints. But what our mission is to ensure that there are more saints than sinners in that political party. And we can have the loudest voice. But Nigerians didn't quite see this vision. And because of the fear of what PDP is being perceived as, we didn't get a lot of people wanting to move with us. And the PDP party itself didn't quite embrace us as much as we thought they would. Because for us at that point, we were so sure that if we were going to be working towards 2019 with one Muhammad Buhari that is 76 years old and another Ahmed Buhari that is 40 years old, we were going to flog them on all grounds. You've heard me speak. You've seen where I come from. You understand my ideology. There was no question in my mind that Nigerians were going to be supporting the PDP moving forward. But the party didn't see it like that. So, just last week, we went to the party secretariat. We expressed our disappointment in the way they have handled a young person, you know, embracing their party. We thought they would use this as an opportunity to cleanse the past perception about their party, and also to, you know, leverage on the fact that a young person has come into the party to get more young people, but they were still focused on celebrating many people who were politicians that we've experienced and seen. And most importantly and most shamefully was, I think the PDP didn't see us as people that they thought had the kind of money that that they would like to spread around. We thought all of these things had changed, and we were truly determined to help the PDP succeed, because it's a platform that we can use. So we went there and we expressed our dismay and our disappointment, and we told them that we're going to be leaving the party, because what we have promised all our supporters across the country and most people in the diaspora is that we're going to be getting to the polls, and we are not concerned about, right now we're not worried about the platform. We have decided to adopt a new platform that is prepared to have inclusivity, that is prepared to work with people regardless of where they're from or the age bracket that they fall within, and not, you know, going to be focused on how much money they're going to be making from aspirants, but rather what those aspirants are going to be bringing to the table with regards to the ideology moving forward. So we did adopt the Sustainable National Party. So I'm going to be running with the Sustainable National Party, called the SNP, moving forward. The public declaration will be made on Monday here in Abuja to express our decisions and why we have decided to go with the Sustainable National Party. And we will be excited to have many young people support us on this platform that we call our own platform. Not just young people, but people who share the same ideology, people who want this country to succeed. And so yes, so I'm going to be running with the Sustainable National Party. I'm a presidential aspirant under that party, and I'm asking and pleading with people like Dr. Sunday Adelaja to get themselves registered as members with the Sustainable National Party, not just because it's a party, but because of the framework they have built to help successfully achieve most of the things that I've talked about in the last 1 hour.
How can people get in touch with you, and how can people who are watching right now connect with you?
So, like we've always said, social media has been the easiest way for us to reach out to the people that we want to hear our voice. On Instagram, you can reach us on official Ahmed B. So it's official, and then there's Ahmed, and then there's the letter B. The same with Twitter, official Ahmed B. And then on Facebook, you can reach us on Ahmed B Campaign, and then the B is the double E and the campaign, Ahmed B Campaign. And I'm sure if you leave a message on any of those platforms, we will sure respond to you. In the meantime, you could actually visit our website on www.ahmedbuharicampaign.com. And please, at any point in time, please do not hesitate to have your perception or the rumors you've heard about, whatever you've heard about. Try and engage, try and ask questions. We'll be here, we'll be willing to have this conversation. It's a vision, not a mission.
This has been a very, very beautiful, beautiful conversation with you. You are daring, you are bold, you are visionary, you have bright mind, bright thoughts, absolutely unique, genuine thoughts for Nigeria. With people like you, I begin to believe that Nigeria has a future. Thank you for coming on today.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure, Doctor.
Thank you so much. Peace. Blessings. Well, that's it, everybody. Please go and share this message with everybody. Go and share it with your family members. Go and share in Facebook groups. Go and share it in the inboxes, and go and share with all your family members, and let this message go around. Let people like this be known to Nigerians, so that they could contribute, and we could have a new generation of politicians. I think the guy is the kind of guy we need for the future moving forward. Well, thank you so much, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow. Peace.